Obviously you've played both games, but a pre-season, a full-time Football League pre-season for you, having come in January, how different was that to the normal routine you would have had in previous years, and how much better do you feel for the experience?
Yeah, it's been refreshing this pre-season. Obviously, I joined in January and it was straight into games, and training weren't like as focused because it was just games Saturday, Tuesday. But this pre-season, I've managed to like knuckle down exactly what the gaffer and Jed want. Obviously, we've played some tough teams as well, so it's been a good test for us, and I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
You've got pretty much the core of the squad from last season, with sort of 5 or 6 additions now. Do you think across the board your experience is shared by everybody else? Do you think those messages have been pretty clear and you've been starting from a base that you built last season?
Yeah, I think the back end of last season, it was, although it was in a relegation scrap, it was that kind of good, the performances that was putting in, and to build on what we did last year towards the back end, it's the same spine, same sort of team as you're going into it. It's clearer ideas, and we can just build on that. It's obviously bringing in new faces is good because you get new ideas. They have different ideas of what they want to do, but it's easier for them to fit into the team because we have a good understanding of each other and what we need to do on the pitch.
How hard was it last season to come in and pretty much have to hit the ground running straight away?
Yeah, it was a tough time for me last season. Like, obviously, I loved it. I loved coming in, playing football here. It was a good time, but I did struggle with like the mental side of it, like going home and we was in a relegation battle, like sleepless nights, stuff like that. Especially the Tranmere game here when we 3-0 up and it went 3-3. That was a tough time, but I think you get a lot of positives from being able to overcome them situations, and going into this season, I can mentally cope with probably stuff like that a bit better, because you did take it home and think about it as you're going to sleep at night and think what you could do better, but it's a good learning curve for everyone.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody who's seen you play would doubt that physically you're able to cope with this level, but I'm really interested that idea of the psychological, the mental side of it is something you've had to adapt to. How much help have you got with that? Is that something you've worked out yourself, or is it something you've talked about here in the changing room with the manager?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. You have to work it out yourself to understand how like you can cope with these situations yourself, because you're going to be there again, no doubt. But you do speak to the gaffer, Jed, obviously the players down there who've been there before, either in a relegation battle or pushing for the playoffs. Either way of it, you speak to them and see how they're coping, and if someone's saying we're going to be all right, it kind of eases your mind a bit, and you settle back down. But I think dealing with it yourself is a lot better, because it puts you in a better position for when you go through it the next time.
Clearly, you won't want to have that kind of experience again. How confident is everybody in that changing room that this season can be better? Better is a word the managers use a lot.
Yeah. I think you've seen it already in pre-season and the first 2 games. I know last season it was a lot down to the start they had. I think it was 10 games without a win last season. So a lot of it was down to that. But this season, pre-season's been good. Some good tests against some big teams, and then we've started these first 2 games really well. So I'm confident what we've got in that dressing room, and obviously the gaffer and Jed are obviously confident with what they've got as well. So we're looking forward to this season.
It's back to the league this weekend after that League Cup win in the week. Is there a little bit of a sense that perhaps you left 2 points out there in the opening league game and maybe want to put that right? Yeah,
I think looking back on it, we probably could have won the game. I know I had a chance to score. Obviously the goal, probably I played a part in the own goals, obviously. So looking back on the game, I do think we could have won it. But Gillingham are a good team. Everyone's raving about them this year to be up there. So point really isn't it's not a bad result. But maybe it is when we look back on it and think we could have won. But going into this game, obviously it's a new ground for me. I've never played at Crewe before. But we're going into every game. I know it's a cliche, but going into every game wanting to win. And we're confident down in the dressing room that we can do that in every game. And we'll go through the shape today and find out what we need to do to win that game tomorrow.
I know there are a lot of changes in the Cup, but yourself and Faz Rawson were still in the team. How much confidence do you take from that performance? And I suppose, what does it say about the squad that you can get that result with 9 changes?
Yeah, it's a good squad. Obviously, everyone knows when they get the chance to step in, they need to take it, and lads have been doing that, which is great because it puts everyone on their toes. makes everyone feel like they have to up their game, make sure they keep the shirt. So it's good for us to have that competition. But it was a good win on Tuesday because it just keeps momentum going into the next game. Keeps the mood in the dressing room good. Everyone's on good spirits. And as I say, it's just momentum for Saturday, and we go into that one with a bit of a bounce now.
I've spoken to a couple of the new signings this season that have come from non-league football in Freddie Sass and Isaac Sinclair, and obviously there was a kind of raft of you guys came in January and then last summer with that non-league background. I'm just interested in the observations you can make about a changing room and the differences to playing non-league football compared to having some guys who are getting a chance in the Football League. What does that mean for the character, do you think, of this group of players, that you come from all different backgrounds but so many of you are getting your first chance at this level? Yeah,
it's big for the lads. Obviously, I've come from non-league myself, and it's a big step up at the time, but it's good for them. Obviously, they're at the right club here, with a lot of players coming from non-league, and you get given the chances. Isaac and Freddie's seen already, they've started games already, so it's a good for him. It's a good dressing room to come into. Obviously, it's good for him to have a face like me, who they knew coming into it, but I think after 1 or 2 days, they settled in straight away, because the lads down there are the top lads. They settle people in straight away, but I think they know it's a good step up, but they're in the right changing room right now.
And you talked a bit about some of the differences you observed from January and that mental side of things. I guess if anybody who's new to it experiences the same thing, you're in a really good position to be able to help them with that.
Yeah, I'll always give my advice to people when they ask. Obviously, like I said before, it's good for them to find their own way and find their own ways with dealing with things, but if anyone needs advice, I'm always there to give it them and help them, because, you know, people will struggle. It's a long season. There'll be parts where people are happy, people are sad, so it's good for us lads to talk to each other and get advice of each other and help each other along the way.
And how much are you enjoying it, day in, day out, week in, week out, doing this as your main job?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm very lucky and privileged to be able to do this for my job. And every day is just it's a bit of a blessing at the minute to be able to play football every day and focus on football. And just loving it, loving life at the minute.